early part of the season here.
Yeah, the standard of where he finished the year, he had really grown his game. There was he became a far more aggressive player, more physically involved in the game, and that line that came together in the playoffs, and some of it was due to injury, but Nick Cousins goes into the hole with Benny and Matthew, and it was so good. But that line with Lusteron and Lundell and Reinhardt, I'm going to say won a series, and the way you could use them, because you got three guys who can take faceoffs. They're all responsible defensively. These young players they're all trying to take the next step, and that's a really important thing. But the foundation of where we see Anton developing the most is a continuation, actually, of learning how to grind every day. As you said, they're young, and cementing that hard work every day to become a great player. He's still on that path. That's his journey right now. You come out and you watch, the veteran players that we have on the ice, their ability to grind right through a practice, right? That takes time and you got to do it every day, and a few years later you can do it. And so he's still pushing, he's still developing, he's still a young man growing into his body. And we just want to push Anton to make sure he stays on that path.
How has Fitzy looked so far early on?
Yeah, good. You know what? We got 9 guys in each group. I'm careful this time, George, making assessments of good or bad young players. He's been good. I think he did a lot of good work this summer. He came in, and there was a little. It was tough for him because he didn't play a lot of hockey, but he used his time wisely because he really pushed his body last year while he was with us. He got himself in pretty good shape. Fitzy's. I'll put him in the gamer category, which means, we want to be physical out here, and we want to practice hard, but we also want to be respectful of our teammates. So guys like him and Richie and Giles and Ludwig, they got a little extra edge to their game, so you'll see that come out. The exhibition games will be really important for those guys, and I think that's where they'll really show well.
Mackey, got to get your eyes on him toward the end of last season when you guys were during practice. To
Yeah.
have him in camp, what are you hoping to see from him, and what have you seen so far? Obviously, it's only 3 days.
Yeah, the hands are there. I mean, that part you saw in the development camp. The question for these young guys is, where do they fit in terms of one's physical maturity, and also how far along in learning the game. I love the fact that last year he optioned to go to the American Hockey League so he could play, and he competed down there. And then I like his pace in practice. The hands, he's got NHL hands, so that part, there's whether the skill set's there or not to play in the NHL really isn't much of a question. It's more of when will it happen. So we'll watch him here. So this is what will be important for him is how his body responds to what we're going to put it through for 2 or 3 weeks. You find young players usually around the 10-day mark. There's a split. Some get stronger and some it wears them down. We'll give him credit. He did some work this summer to improve. And those young players have such more capacity they can reach. I really like his hands. I like the way he thinks. And I like the way he works on the ice. Where he's at, the exhibition games will give us a better idea. But even with that, and I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you guys, there's going to be young players or older players that'll come out and light it up in exhibition. It's still not real, right? Because there's a big difference when everybody gets to camp and the regular season hits, and then you've seen the gap between exhibition and regular season is equally as big as the gap between regular season and the playoffs. It's just different worlds. But we'll give them a good chance. We'll give them a good look. We like them a lot.
You have Grayson Shawshut out there with Ryan Lomberg and Sam Reinhart. What does that experience do for a young guy like that?
Well, that one's specific. He was originally out there with Carter Verhaeghe, and that was solely based on his rookie camp. He's a gamer. Like, this guy's, for a young guy, somehow, and he's not the biggest man on the ice yet, but he's on the puck. He plays the game. He competes right through drills. I would have had thought that he would have worn out after 3 days just because of his age, and he has not. So I thought he's got a bit of both in his game. So Sam Reiner's a real smart, real gritty guy, but not necessarily the biggest guy in the league. And then with Lombo there as a driver, so that he could kind of see both sides. A guy who puts the puck deep and forechecks the heck out of it. Another guy who will do that, but he thinks his way through. Also, both those guys, you got great personalities on them. All right, they'll help the kid out. They'll talk to the kid. They'll give him a really, really good experience. nearly impossible for a player to come out of junior hockey after being drafted and make an NHL team. But for me, he's like 6 days into his Florida Panther kind of debut in terms of rookie camp, and here he's done well.
I mean, you see him go one-on-one against these big guys like Nico Mikkola, and he's not afraid to get into it.
No, he's a gamer. Like, so I can't define it very well to you. He's not disrespectful. He's just out there playing the game as hard as he possibly can. He doesn't seem overwhelmed. Looks like he's having a great time. He's got a big smile on his face when he's not trying to catch his breath. So I've enjoyed his camp. I'm excited about him.
Anthony Stolarz brought him in this year.
Yeah.
Have you seen much out of him so far?
I'm going to tell you, dude, I don't look at the goalies at all. Like, I truly don't. I can't tell you if they're, I mean, Bob made the one glove save. I don't know if you saw that one down the center. It was a freak show. There's no way he should have been able to stop that one. But I haven't looked at the goalies. I asked Robbie Tallis how were the goalies. He was really happy today. So they must all had a really good day.
So I'll rephrase then.
Okay.
The third goalie role. We saw
Yeah.
how important it was last year. You have a new guy in that role now. Is obviously hard to tell at this point, but confidence level and that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to evade your question.
trying to phrase it in a way you can answer it.
Yeah. But I'm not putting them in the 3-hole yet. That's not done. It's just too early. We'll let them play their games and we'll make the decision from there.
And even with Spencer Knight, to have him back on the ice after the way that everything happened, just for him to be back in.
Yeah,
be
I'm happy for
himself,
him.
you know?
I'm really, really happy for him because he's in great shape. And that was never an issue with him, right? But he looks stronger physically. He looks like he's enjoying being on the ice. A tremendous amount of courage for a young man to ask for help, to know that he is. Also, if you think about the amount of work he would have put in, almost nobody else knew, right? That he knew there was something wrong, but there weren't a lot of signs around him for us to figure that out. So great that he got it defined, that he got professional help to help manage it, and he looks like Spencer Knight on the ice. So good for him, and a great lesson for young people to ask for help because it can make things better. And then you're asking for help at times that you don't think things could ever get better, and things can get better. So he's going to be a good role model for a lot of people.
Are you just thinking back to the first, I guess it would be 2002, your first season after you guys went to the final?
Yeah.
Is this training camp, can you even compare the two? Just in terms of your coaching, your mindset, where you are as a person?
Yeah. Well, I remember a lot about that next training camp, and then we had a December, January that year where half the team got hurt, and then we got into January, and there was Marc-Andre Fleury and Eric Stahl were available, were like top end guys of the draft, and all of a sudden all our veteran players got traded, and we drafted very high. It turned out to be a smart thing by Jimmy because he won the Stanley Cup on that. Different time. That team caught fire. It might seem similar, but it did. That team caught fire after an Olympic break. We had 10 days off. We came back, and we were a real good team, got hot. You look statistically, we were a pretty good team from January 1st on last year. So this is a different kind of team. Also, most of the high-end players, that's not true. We had kids on that team, too. We swung way, way above our weight class in 2002. We just did, right? That's pre-cap era. So the starting 6 players on the Detroit Red Wings in the Stanley Cup final, that payroll was more than our whole team. So it's a completely different world. But related to the camp, this camp will be 10% tougher than last year, so we're not backing off. We're going heavier.
Nick Cousins out there today with Bennett Kachuk. Obviously some magical moments last year with those three. What
Yeah.
did you learn about Cuzzy as a player last year and kind of his evolution up the lineup?
Well, we knew he had a skill level, and you can. But sometimes when you get a player who gets a really great opportunity like that and they put up some points, all you see is them playing on skill, and he did a good job of not doing that. You know, he's got enough confidence that he doesn't defer and force plays into those two guys and just try to get him the puck to make it work so that he gets to stay there. He played his own game last year, and it takes some confidence to do that. I think he is a smart player, and he's creative. He's a smart, creative player, but the strength of him is he's got a little bite to him. He's got a little grit to him. He's not afraid to go in the heavy areas. So the three of them have that in common, right? So they were really good. He's going to get an opportunity to start there.
Thank you.